The last thing my sister said to me before slamming the door was, "You're too toxic to be in my life." Just like that, 15 years of sisterhood reduced to one ugly sentence. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just picked up my keys and walked away. But exactly 7 days later, my phone lit up at 2:14 in the morning. Her name on the screen. And when I answered, she wasn't angry anymore. She was crying, panicking, begging, "Emilea, please. I need your help." And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. The same sister who threw me out of her life had just walked straight into the disaster I warned her about. If you enjoy emotional betrayal stories like this, make sure to subscribe and stay with me until the end, because what happened next completely changed the way I see family forever. My name is Emilea. I'm 28 years old, and for most of my life, my little sister Lily wasn't just family. She was my best friend. Growing up, it was always the two of us against the world. Our parents worked nonstop, so I practically raised her. I helped her with homework, sat through her heartbreaks, even paid part of her college tuition when she was short on money. I never kept score. That's what family does, right? At least, that's what I believed. Things started changing when Lily got engaged to her fiancé Mark. From the very first moment I met him, something about him felt off. Too charming. Too smooth. Like every word he said was carefully rehearsed. Everyone else loved him instantly. My parents adored him. Lily looked at him like he hung the moon. But I noticed the little things. How he checked her phone when he thought no one was looking. How he'd casually insult her in front of people, then laugh like it was a joke. How he always had some new investment idea, but never seemed to have any real money. I tried to ignore it at first. I really did. Until one night Lily came over to my apartment, eyes red from crying. "Mark just gets stressed sometimes," she kept saying, even while wiping tears from her cheeks. That was the moment my stomach dropped. Because I knew that tone. The same one women use when they're defending someone who hurts them. So I told her the truth. "Lily, I don't trust him." She froze like I'd slapped her. "What?" "I'm serious," I said carefully. "I've seen the way he talks to you. It's not normal." Her face hardened instantly. "You always do this," she snapped. "Do what?" "Make everything negative. You're always suspicious of people." I took a breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm not being negative. I'm being honest. I just don't want you to get hurt." But Lily wasn't hearing me anymore. "You just hate that I'm happy," she said quietly. That sentence hit harder than anything else. "Hate that you're happy?" I repeated. "Yes," she said, voice shaking now. "You've been alone for years. Maybe you just don't understand what love looks like." For a second, I couldn't even speak. Because the truth was, I had sacrificed so much for her happiness. And suddenly I was the villain. "Lily," I said softly, "I'm trying to protect you." Her eyes filled with anger. "No," she said. Then she stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked to the door. "You're too toxic to be in my life." The words hung in the air like smoke. I expected her to turn back, to say she didn't mean it. She didn't. The door slammed. And just like that, my sister was gone. For the next week, there was nothing. No texts. No calls. My parents avoided the topic completely. It was like I'd suddenly become the problem everyone wanted to ignore. I kept asking myself the same question over and over. Was I wrong? Maybe I should have kept quiet. Maybe love really did make people blind, and maybe I just made things worse. Then exactly 7 days later, my phone rang in the middle of the night. Lily's name flashed across the screen. For a moment, I almost didn't answer. But something in my chest told me this call wasn't about an apology. When I finally picked up, all I heard at first was breathing, then a sobbing. "Emilea," she whispered. Her voice sounded completely broken. And the next thing she said made my entire body go cold. "Mark took everything." For a few seconds, I honestly thought I had heard her wrong. "Mark took everything." My grip tightened around the phone. My heart wasn't racing. It was strangely calm, like the moment before a storm finally breaks. "What do you mean, everything?" I asked. Lily's breathing shook through the phone. "The money, my savings, the joint account. He said he was moving it for an investment." I trusted him. Her voice cracked. Emilea, he's gone. I closed my eyes. Part of me felt the sting of that old wound again. The door slamming. The words, "You're too toxic." But another part of me, the bigger part, just felt tired. Took how much? I asked quietly. All of it, she whispered. 40,000. $40,000. Years of her savings. And the apartment? I asked. Rent's unpaid. The landlord already emailed. Mark handled everything. I didn't even realize. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said it. I should have listened to you. Her voice sounded small. Broken. I'm so sorry, Emilea. I messed everything up. I stared at the dark ceiling above me. I could hear the fear in her voice. The kind of fear that comes when reality finally crashes through denial. But something else was rising inside me too. Not anger. Not revenge. Clarity. Lily, I said slowly, did he leave anything behind? Documents? Contracts? Messages about the investment? There was a pause. Yeah, emails. Texts. He sent me some forms to sign. Good, I said. Good, she asked weakly. Yes, I replied. Because he didn't just betray you. He committed fraud. The silence on the other end changed instantly. You think we can do something? Oh, we're definitely going to do something, I said. The next few days turned into a blur. I helped Lily gather everything. Bank statements, emails, texts, digital signatures. Mark thought he was clever, but he left a trail everywhere. And once we had enough, I made one call. To a lawyer friend of mine. Turns out when someone drains a shared account under false pretenses and runs off with the money, the law takes that pretty seriously. Within 48 hours, the lawyer filed a fraud report and contacted the bank. Another 3 days later, Mark probably woke up thinking he had gotten away with the perfect scam. Except he hadn't. Because when he tried to move the money again, the account was frozen. The investigation started. And suddenly, the man who thought he'd disappear quietly had police asking questions about financial fraud. The night Lily called me again, her voice sounded completely different. They found him, she said softly. I leaned back in my chair. And he's being investigated. The bank thinks we can recover most of the money. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said something I'll never forget. I threw away the one person who was actually protecting me. I exhaled slowly. Lily, I said, family isn't about always being comfortable. Sometimes it's about hearing the truth you don't want to hear. Her voice cracked again. Why did you still help me after what I said? I thought about that for a second. Then I answered honestly. Because you're my sister. Another long silence passed. But this time, it didn't feel heavy. It felt like healing. Mark lost the money he tried to steal. The investigation forced him to return most of it. His reputation? Completely destroyed. Turns out people stop trusting you real fast when fraud gets attached to your name. And Lily? She learned the hardest lesson of her life. Not everyone who warns you is toxic. Sometimes, they're the only person standing between you and disaster. And if there's one thing this whole experience taught me, it's this. The people who tell you uncomfortable truths aren't your enemies. They're often the ones who care about you the most. So if you've ever had someone call you too honest, or too protective, or even too toxic just for speaking the truth, maybe you weren't the problem after all. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and stay with this channel for more real, emotional stories about betrayal, strength, and justice. Because sometimes the people who walk away quietly end up being the strongest ones in the end.